Other interesting cultural news, you have Dave Rubin roasted for a R-word joke about fatties for free Palestine. Or Stein. I always forget. Now, when I say the R-word, I mean the one in which you take advantage of someone against their will. I try to keep this moderately family friendly, so if you have them listening in the background or the youth listening in the background, you don't have to worry about scrumbling over there and trying to cover their ears, which I don't know if parents do these days, but hopefully they still do. Now, this comes from David Rubin, and he says, Hamas wouldn't even R-word these cows. And the most hilarious thing is these women, they call themselves this. This isn't an insult saying they're fat. They themselves decided to come up with this group, and the group is called Fatties for Free Palestine, which, I mean, at least in terms of marketing, it's not good, but it is accurate marketing. I'll give them that. I want to say they break the suspension on a Hummer 1, which is just nearly military grade, but they would put a great stressor on the vehicle's struts as well as the shocks, and they would certainly void most car warranties, I would argue. And again, he says, Hamas wouldn't even R-word these cows, and it looks like, was it 4, 5, 6, 7 of these gals where, yeah, they are quite large, definitely not in charge, and they have probably wearing a t-shirt with watermelons and some type of leaf. And the shirt says fatties in red, watermelon red. That says, well, it's a terrible marketing. And then Bora is in very small font, so you can barely read that. That's saying something considered the size of a billboard. And it says Free Palestine, which is larger and more bold. One might be a trans individual, I can't tell. 2, maybe. They look androgynous. I'm not trying to be pejorative. I'm just kind of giving a description if you're only listening to the show and not visually seeing it. And at least they are diverse. We've got a lot of different, not diversity of thought. The thought is mostly mentally vacuous, but there's diversity in culture, I guess. Well, I don't know if liberalism is all one culture. It's a debate for another time, perhaps. And Dave Rubin got ratioed, to say the least. And again, it got 1.4 million views. It went viral, as the youth might say, or I might say. Granted, if this is on YouTube, I'll probably, statistically speaking, if I get 5 or more views on a video these days, I am exceedingly happy and ecstatic. Because statistically speaking, like 90+% of my views on YouTube have just dropped off to nowhere. Coincidentally, after I started talking about controversial things, even though I myself, I'm not particularly bombastic or pejorative. At least I don't think so. And yeah, interesting enough, on other competing social media platforms, such as the big green one, I'm getting like 3 to 4 views. Some might say I'm on fire. But nevertheless, shadow banning is disgusting. Maybe someday YouTube won't do that to folks, which is another reason I especially appreciate folks taking the time to tune in and like, subscribe, and commenting, and giving me an excuse to use this funny graphic right there. Now, again, it got 1.4 million views and 2.2 thousand likes, which, again, for me, more than 6 likes, I'm on sky. Cloud 9, as youth might say, or sky. What? There's a funny metaphor for that, and another reason I appreciate if you like it. But statistically speaking, 2.2 thousand at 1.4 million that's statistically not. I mean, it's terrible. Which we'll do the fun little math here today. That might be the worst ratio we've seen in a year. I mean, that's insane. 2,200. Pull up a little calculator here. Is divided by 1.4 million. Gives us 0.00157. We're going to turn that into a good old percentage. So if you're a youth on the show learning about mathematics because your public school is teaching you gender ideology instead, we're going to multiply that by 100 to get that percentage point. That means if everyone who saw that picture, 0.1571 people liked it. Now, if we feel so inclined, we could round up a little bit. We'll do 0.16% of people who saw this liked it. Also known as, statistically speaking, nothing. Which, yeah, this backfired on him pretty big. Almost as big as these girls being pictured. Now, some of the top comments comes from Big Surge saying, neither would you on account of they aren't small boys, unquote, getting 4.6 thousand likes. Now, in terms of the backstory on why there's a little bit of pushback, I believe, for this specific social media instance, Dave Rubin recently got I forget what we call it, the baby onesies from Ron DeSantis' campaign staff, or Ron DeSantis' team. And David Rubin is a very popular conservative talk show host, podcaster, and he is openly gay with a husband, and they adopted I believe, 1 or 2 kids. So that's been controversial, especially in the conservative community, and especially those who are faith-based. And surrogacy in and of itself is a hot topic because a lot of people make the argument you shouldn't take a child away from their mother, and those child now will have no opportunity to have a nurturing mother in their life, thereby many would argue not giving them the best odds of success. Now, John Aziz also says, very bad tweet, wouldn't even R is never a good insult. Never in all caps. That got 1.8 thousand likes, which, again, in terms of comedy, that's the strange thing. This isn't like the most offensive comedic shtick or comedic joke we've heard the past couple of years. Granted, of course, a lot of people are going to say it's not tasteful, and when it comes to text, very few things translate well when it comes to comedy. I understand that it's at a disadvantage in that regard, but, I mean, that's almost seems like an average, and again, this isn't good nor bad, it almost seems like an average Twitter shit post, or whatever you call it, like, almost like an average Twitter, the word that leaves me at the moment, just not a dirty joke, but like a low-hanging fruit, like an easy joke. And again, I mean, the R word is controversial all the time. I understand that, obviously. No one's cheering for it. And yet, we've had those jokes in comedy for decades. And yet, he's getting unprecedented pushback on this. I mean, we haven't seen these ratios since presidential approval ratings. Getting a political pun in early today. Now, you have parody Nick Adams saying, for a guy who makes R jokes, you seemingly are quite a sensitive guy. Is Dave Rubin blocking someone? I got 905 likes. Michael Winter says, day drinking, getting 181 likes. Dave Stillwell says, this is one of those tweets you should have deleted before posting. The fact that you haven't deleted it yet speaks volumes about your character, and not in a good way, Uncle. Getting 1,000 likes, which, yeah, although, I guess you could say he's sticking with the bit, or you're sticking with the joke. I think comedians might respect that, actually, instead of acquiescing to groupthink. Because again, if he was doing what the crowd is saying, I don't think he'd talk much these days. Now, the Texas one says, our jokes are definitely when you've hit rock bottom, no matter who it is, getting 362 likes. Peachy Keenan says, have you asked your two surrogates for a weigh-in recently? Getting 281 likes. Vitamin R, again, I can't enunciate all the time, which is yet another reminder to click that subscribe button, no matter what platform you're on. I have a theory. When I first started the show, not a lot of subscribers, and believe it or not, spoke monotone, I stumbled over my words, and truth be told, I mispronounced a lot of things. Now, granted, there's been an improvement. I would say some might argue just a modicum of improvement, barely anything at all. However, there's been a little bit of improvement, and there's also been a little bit increase in subscriber count. I don't think that's a coincidence. So my theory is, the more subscribers I gain, the more I will be able to articulate, speculate. See, I can barely even speak English sometimes, which is especially sad. It's my primary language. But nevertheless, if you take that time to click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. If I already did, thanks to you very much, and leave a comment. Let me know if I can do better or worse, or funny third thing. Now, Vitamin R says, keep showcasing your depravity to the world, unquote, getting 1,000 likes. Abu Olive? Now, that's not me. That's actually how it's spelled out on his profile. He says, that is Israeli sense of humor, rubbing off on David the more time he spends there, getting 463 likes. So far, not a single positive comment. Not good. Tom Buckley says you should nope out of this and delete. Grammar is a lost thing these days. And does have Jim from The Office giving a disapproving nod, getting 208 likes. Sarah Fields says, I'm so glad this disgusting post is demonetized, getting 527 likes. Going down, well, I'm guessing it has to do more with the advertisers being risk adverse in general. But nevertheless, you have, what is this, The Great Lebowski, which, I'll be honest, there's a lot of classics, quote-unquote classics I've never seen, but, like, just through pop culture. And he simply says, yikes, dude. And what is that? So John Goodman simply says, over the line, getting 182 likes. Michael Oxford says, you're not edgy, you're cringe, getting 275 likes. Eli says, I hope they pick you instead of King, getting 158 likes. Philosophical Cat, although I don't know if they deserve an A+ for marking, as a picture of a person, not a cat. But nevertheless, this alleged cat says, you're a homo who buys trafficked babies. You have no grounds to criticize anyone. Getting 205 likes, which, legally speaking, that does not meet the definition of trafficked. I mean, I think he did it. I mean, he did it through the legal channels. I mean, the morality is another topic for another time, perhaps. We can dive in if you ever want to. But yeah, legally speaking, I mean, he's in the clear. Going down more and more. Alexander says, "Hey Dave, I know you're busy being a disgusting woman hater now, but did you wish the woman who rented a with the woman you rented a happy birthday card? Did you let the children you bought hear their mother's voices?" Getting 100. I got 141 likes. Pooch Dijor says, "How to destroy your personal brand on X in one X tweet?" Getting 511 likes. Christine says, "You're a disgusting human being." Getting 360 likes. Intersectional Miss Sandris says, "Bad things deserve to happen to you, David." Getting 786 likes. Liam Bright says, "Once upon a time, your brand was being a nice guy who just wanted to bring some perspective to difficult conversations. I'm sure you've had some story to tell yourself about how it is good and how this is who you are now." I got 3.7 thousand likes, which, as youth might say, ratioed him completely. Liz Reed's Theology says, "Would you like to clarify who our women are? Who puts someone in that category?" Getting 502 likes. Buffy the Misogynist Slayer. I don't say it's cringe, but at least you probably know what she stands for. And she says, "Oh, look, more proof that not only are gay men not exempt from misogyny, but they can be quite adept at it." Getting 311 likes. I gotta start following this person just because their name is so hilarious. Patriarchy Hannah, which, when you talk about, that's definitely a leftist profile I need to follow. Again, I might not agree with what folks have to say, but the more diversity of opinion, the more you can get out of the echo chamber. Life tends to be a little bit more interesting, which is why I follow as many people I can on the left, the middle, and the right. Just makes life a little more interesting. And she said, again, this is Patriarchy Hannah. She says, "I'm not surprised at all that a man who think it..." Okay, grammar be damned. I'll read it exactly how she read it. She says, "I'm not surprised at all that a man who think it okay to rent a woman's body to fulfill his own selfish desire for children would classify women as arable and unarable. You're already shown that you have no respect for women outside of the use to traffic children." Unquote. She got 975 likes. We'll do. Trying to scroll to see if there's anyone sticking up for Dave. And you have someone who just says, "Dave, this isn't it." That's not really sticking up. Gotta be someone, right? No. So yeah, a lot of people calling him out for renting out wombs. Eve Barlow says, "Go easy on the misogyny there, friend. I know they're idiots, but our jokes are no." Getting 539 likes. Which, yeah, I'm not seeing any positive statements for this guy. I mean, this might be the greatest ratio we've seen. This, dear God, folks, I think he did it. He achieved the almost unachievable in social media. We have what we have here. What we have here today is known as the Chris Christie effect, fascinating social media phenomenon and a statistical anomaly in which not a single positive response comes in your comment section. Clear out, this happened twice when Chris Christie was running or rolling for the Republican nominee. You had instances where, and presumably, I mean, Chris Christie has family, friends, and campaign staff, and none of them even took the time to respond positively in the comment section. I mean, again, this never happens. And Dave Rubin did it. I mean, not even comedians are coming out and saying, like, hell yeah, so not even them are supporting him. And they're pretty big stalwarts of, it's all about, First Amendment, which, again, he has a right to say these things. But I mean, comedians are much more about, defending the joke and saying, hey, not all jokes land right. Sometimes you gotta work in the vernacular, switch it up. And yet, I'm not even seeing comedians stick up for the guy in the comment section. This is the biggest ratio we've seen all year. And again, there have been more and more people critiquing Dave Rubin. He peaked a couple of years ago, and granted, he still has more subscribers than I could possibly fathom. Again, he's wildly successful. He makes more money than we could possibly contemplate. So again, he's not going to go overweight or not. He's not going to go. Let's just say he's not going to go hungry. But it'll be interesting. Does he lose even 1% of his subscriber base because of this? I believe he's still currently employed over at the Blaze, which is one of the most, I would say, it's famous and well known, but also one of the most successful conservative media companies in the U.S. and they've been steadily growing. And again, he does bring a unique perspective to the company and to the conversation. Again, he's a gay conservative. That's more unusual than it is not. And that again, he does bring some interesting perspectives to the table. And he's had some great interviews that I've enjoyed throughout the years. But there's so many people critiquing him. I wonder. I mean, do you think he'll actually this will have a negative impact, fiscally speaking? Will he actually decrease his subscriber count? I mean, some people would argue there's no such thing as bad advertising or bad marketing. Well, those people don't work in Bud Light, but let me know in the comments. As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leave me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.